Hello and welcome to Giant Mess, a super sloppy sports and entertainment podcast that's hosted by Giant Mess. That's me, the real cinch, Neal Lynch. I'm a former fourth-string college quarterback and mediocre middle relief pitcher who earned an overpriced film and media studies degree. And now I'm a single dad who likes to talk Mets baseball, Giants football, movies, TV, and comedy. On today's episode, we're going to be recapping games 3 and 4 of the National League Division Series between the New York Metropolitans and the Scumbags. From the city of brotherly love, quote unquote, the Philadelphia Phillies. We'll also do a kind of mysterious preview because we don't know who we're playing in the NLCS. Spoiler. National League Championship Series. The Mets are there. We did it. So without further ado, let us get it started up in here. All right, here we are. Didn't think we would be here in May, late May, Memorial Day weekend. I was at a farm talking to my daughter's friend's dad, who's a Phillies fan. And I was just like, you guys are looking really good. And we are not looking good. We stink. So, begrudgingly had to admit that the Phillies were one of the top teams in baseball. And then, some stuff happened. We turned things around. And I couldn't be happier for this organization, for this franchise, for the players, for its fan base. This is one of the most memorable postseasons for me personally. You know, I've said it before, I was 5 when the Mets won the World Series. So I have very blurry memories of that happening. Very fuzzy. Not very vivid, not very clear. Not exactly 4K or HD. Very standard def when it comes to those memories. 2000, 99, 2000, I was in college in Baltimore. Not exactly Mets Central. We had a lot of New York, New Jersey, metropolitan area students. And, we did get together and were able to watch, but there were some big moments in 99 and 2000. 2015, I was just about on top of the world. I had just gotten engaged. My then fiance got me tickets to Game 3 of the World Series. We were on an improbable run. Just like we're on an improbable run right now. But believe me, the NLDS against the Dodgers was no walk in the park in 2015. Plenty of dramatics to happen there, but nothing to this effect, especially against the Phillies. I mean, like the Phillies, that cranks it up 1,000 notches when you're playing against them. So, oh boy, so many storylines. So many clutch moments, so many players contributing to this. 2015 postseason, for the most part, you say 2015 Mets and you think Daniel Murphy, at least in the postseason. That's just like, it's just Daniel Murphy. He just took over. This team, it's not one guy. It's a 1 through 9 situation. It's 26 guys, all of them chipping in. And making an impact. And I don't know that we could say that for the 2015 Mets. And as far as the 2024 Phillies go, hot damn. I bet they wish they had our 6 through 9 hitters. I bet they fucking wish they did. Because as intimidating as the top head of that lineup is, 1 through 4, 1 through 5, the bottom part of that lineup blows. And I don't think you can really say the same for ours. Sure, Francisco Alvarez has struggled. Tyrone Taylor has struggled, for sure. But they come up with hits here and there. The amount of offers, lack of runs scored, lack of productivity from that bottom half of that lineup for Philadelphia, ultimately, I think, did them in. Anytime we saw 6, 7, 8 coming up, it was just like, all right, next inning, We got this. I don't know that you can say the same for the Phillies starters or bullpen against the bottom half of our lineup. So we have players that are losing loved ones. Brandon Nimmo lost his grandmother before a game. Sean Manaea loses his aunt before a game. It just feels like it means more to this team than it does anyone else in the league right now. And yeah, I mean, momentum is so powerful in this game, and when you can seize it and keep it, I don't know, it takes a Herculean effort just to come out of that and be competitive. So I'm so proud of the way, there were just a couple stretches, a couple missteps here and there, but I'm so proud of the way the team played. I'm ecstatic that we didn't have to go back to Philadelphia for Game 5. I had confidence that we could pull that game out, but when you have the chance and it's right there and you can do it at home and it hasn't been done since 2000, you got to do it, right? Because you got to feel like if Philly comes away with another outcome like Game 2, where they're winning, to not a walk off, but they're winning, it's a close game, that's a big momentum shift. And to take it back to Philly when, I think our arms are probably tired. The pitching staff, despite some really great outings from Manaea and Quintana, you have to feel like the bullpen is probably stretched thin. And so to go back to Philly with that crowd being ravenous and rabid, I know that we've been in some tough situations in some hostile environments and we've always come out on top, but I don't know. I'm confident we would have pulled it out, but it would have been, I don't know. I don't know if you probably, I don't know if I'll post a video, but you can't see it. I didn't get any sleep last night. This series I've gained 10 pounds during this series. I'm just eating and drinking like a madman. This opponent brings out the worst in me, and it ages me. I mean, I got bags on bags on bags underneath these eyes, wrinkles galore, gray hairs everywhere. So I'm very first postseason matchup between these two squads, and we take it and we shove it straight up their ace. Philadelphia, you scumbags, you absolute scumbags. It just means more. And the way that we won was huge. And I just love it. It just feels different. You look at our dugout or our locker room, our clubhouse, you look at how they mesh together, how they are there for each other. You don't see that when you look at the Phillies dugout, the Phillies clubhouse. You just don't. And maybe they went through all that in 2022, right? That was their coming out party. That's what they were. Like, we are the 2022 Phillies. That year, I need that year to go away. We need to come up with another name for that year because I always butcher it. 2022 Phillies. We're that. They had that song, Dancing at Night or whatever the hell it is, Coming at Night. And then we have our song. So I feel like, we are what they were 2 years ago, and they've kind of lost that. And and to be honest, that's got to be really hard to maintain over the course of years, much less, it wasn't an entire season with the Phillies nor the Mets, but like the fact that the Mets have kept this going for as long as they have is astounding. So, yeah, I was on cloud 9. Couldn't sleep. No way. Way too excited. Way too excited. I haven't felt this good about a Mets team probably since 2015. We did have some we did make the playoffs in 2016, but 2019, I kind of fell in love with that team because it did feel like we had some magic and we just came up short in terms of making the postseason. But this is I don't think I've ever felt this way about a Mets team. I mean, the 2000 Mets were fun, but it was not to this level. Not where it's like almost every guy is making a big play and coming up big, and it's just everyone is in on it. So let's delve into. We'll first start talking about Game 3. We'll go into Game 4. Game 3, Jose Iglesias 2 for 4, 2 ribbies. Candelita, the flame has not gone out on his light, on his wick. This guy, especially when there are runners on and in scoring position, and even when there's 2 outs, it's like he's just automatic. He's just so clutch. We keep waiting for the clock to strike midnight with him and him to fall apart, and it's just not happening. Not when the remix is coming. He's got to keep playing well until that remix hits. With Pitbull, Pitbull tweeting out clips of Iggy, like, what is happening? Yeah, so Iggy 2 for 4, 2 ribbies. Sean Manaea, I mean, what a performance. He's warming up on the other mound. He's not even warming up on the same mound as the plate is. He's warming up on the other mound, and it's just like this new funky delivery is really doing it for me. I really like it a lot, and I don't think Philly was up to the moment. Couldn't catch up with it. Couldn't pick up on it. And I had a good feeling against Aaron Nola. Like we said in the games 1 and 2 previews, we have Zach Wheeler's and Aaron Nola's number for the past couple years. And Aaron Nola, especially in the postseason on the road, not so great. So despite what some initial numbers might tell you, like, we're going up against the 2 aces, like, I have never been really scared of Aaron Nola. He did have 8 strikeouts, but he did give up 4 earned and 2 walks. Sean Manaea, 6. This is, he went 7+ innings, 6 Ks, 2 walks, 1 earned. As I mentioned, his aunt passed away, and he dedicated the win to her, which is special. I didn't realize this, but he wears number 59 for his fallen brother, who passed the day he signed with the Mets. So it's an emotional, sentimental season for him. It just means more. It just means more for everyone on this squad. And I think that was the edge in this. As bullshit and corny, as cliche as Philly will say that it is, look how far it's gotten us, dude. Maybe you need to be a little more corny. Maybe you need to be a little more, have some more humor, whimsy, and joy. Manaea, after throwing just 1 changeup since the All-Star break to a left-handed batter, which is wild stat. Don't know if that's real, but that is a crazy stat. The lefty relied on the pitch during a pivotal 6th inning. He threw 4 lefty on lefty changeups, none bigger than a swinging strike to start an at-bat against Harper with runners on first and second. I could have watched that on loop for the rest of my days. So beautiful. And the sweeper, dude, is just, it doesn't look real. Through 6 postseason games, the Mets have received at least 6 innings from their starting pitcher 4 times, which is humongous. Because you can see what happens with some of our bullpen. Buto has the great outing in Milwaukee the first go round, second go round not so much, and then against the Phillies not so great. Maytime, not great first outing against Milwaukee, somewhat okay bounce back. Reed Garrett, who had been shaky. So, and Edwin Diaz, who's not, people, I don't know that people have like the utmost confidence in Sugar right now. The only one who has really been locked down, the only 2 really have been David Peterson and Ryan Stanek with Reed Garrett is like, he's been, it's not been flawless, hasn't been that clean, but he has given us he's probably our 3rd best option. Game 3 NLDS at Citi Field, baby. And the stadium was packed. I heard that standing room tickets were going for like $100. which I guess is reasonable in New York terms. Meanwhile, it was like $10 in Milwaukee. And then Polar Bear, our guy, Pete, another Oppo Taco. He homers right field. It's the third time in 4 games, all of them to the opposite field, which I love. I love that. I love that has the confidence to stay back, not getting too antsy, being patient, and really driving the ball. I love that. This one hit the Tullamore Dew signage on the upper deck, and I love the bat flip. If you're a Philly announcer and you're getting on him, and if you're getting on him for flipping the bat, grow up, dude. Just like grow up. This is a huge series. That's a huge moment at home. It's not like he threw it at one of the Phillies players or he threw it at the dugout or he stared at the Phillies dugout or stared at the Phillies players. He's looking at his own dugout. He's flipping it up in the air towards his own dugout. I mean, there are far more egregious bat flips that I've seen in my life. And, it got the crowd going, which is all you can ask for. Alonso is now tied for 3rd in Mets postseason history with 4 home runs. And those 4 career postseason home runs have come in only 9 games. So for everyone who held the funeral for Pete Alonso and said, it's been nice knowing you, have fun somewhere else. Yikes, dude. That's a tough one to walk back. Like I've been walking back my thoughts on Mark Vientos every time I bring him up. So I think you owe him, Pete Alonso, more than an apology at this point. Maybe some flowers, chocolates, another pumpkin. So where does he go from here in terms of postseason home runs in Mets history? Well, he's tied currently with Darryl Strawberry, Rusty Staub, Lenny Dykstra, Carlos Delgado, and Edgardo Alfonso. His next home run, and there will be a next home run, knock on wood, will tie him with Mike Piazza. And then Daniel Murphy is 7. I mean, Daniel Murphy was out of his mind. That friggin' postseason, out of his mind. So I don't know if he'll catch Daniel, but damn, 4-9 with a possibility of 14 games to come. Best of 7 in the NLCS, best of 7 in the World Series. If it goes all 7, that's 14 more games. I don't know. I think maybe he could do it. In this postseason, he has an OPS of over 1,000, 6 ribeyes, 6 walks, 5 runs scored. He joins a very short list of 3 other Mets with the highest OPS in franchise history in their first 9 career postseason games with a minimum of 30 plate appearances. Murphy, of course, Murphy's just, his numbers are so absurd. Murphy was almost a 1,500 OPS. Carlos Delgado was nearly a 1,200 OPS. Rusty Staub was just below that, and then Pete Alonso is just below that. So, in his career against Aaron Nola, and I think this is why I had a lot of confidence going into this game. Pete's batting .327 with an OPS of 1117, 6 ding dongs, 12 ribeyes. Oh baby! So you had to think that he was going to have a good day against our old buddy Nola. Top of the 4th, 1 out. Alec Bohm hits a rocket to the right center gap. Tyrone Taylor got an excellent jump, took it off the wall, and in one motion returned said rocket to second base and nailed Bohm. There was no question. I mean, they kept replaying it and kept saying, "Oh, he came off the bag. His foot was up." Lindor literally had the ball in his glove and the glove on Alec Bohm's neck the entire slide into second base. From the moment he started the slide to the moment he touched the base, he had the glove on his neck. So there was no question there. An 87-mile-per-hour throw. Hey, Tyrone, we might need you as our setup guy. Bottom 4, and Jesse Winker steps to the plate. In his first at-bat, he just missed a home run. Nick Castellanos caught it against the wall and right. And then, of course, as he's taking the ball out of his glove, it comes out. So then it goes to replay. Iglesias is caught between first and second. He sees the right field umpire make a safe call. So he runs to second. Phillies then throw it to first to challenge. And they say safe because it was called safe, and of course the replay shows it was on the transfer, and so they ultimately make the right call. They call Winker out, and then Iglesias goes back to first. But then bottom four rolls around, Winker steps up, and there is a no doubter about this shot. Casty ain't catching this one. Upper deck, bro. Upper tank. Mammoth shot. Crushed it 109, almost 109 miles per hour off the bat, puts the Metros up 2-0. I think they said it traveled a distance of 389 feet, but I'm not sure if they meant vertically or horizontally, because that thing was skied. It touched a friggin' star. Ugh. And his reaction, I mean, is so classic Winker. Just standing there admiring and watching. Yeah, exactly what to keep that crowd at that fevered pitch was electric. It's just so fun having him on the team, providing that extra amount of emotion. Not that we need it, but it's just nice because he's there to give you those big moments and to fire you up as a fan base. And I'm sure it's contagious in the dugout. I think the dugout must feed off of that as well. The Mets had one home run in their first 4 postseason games, but now have 6 in their last 2 games. We did not have a homer in our first 26 postseason innings, and we have 7 in our 23 innings since. So Jesse Winker got off to kind of he struggled down the stretch of the regular season, showed up and showed out in Milwaukee, and his OPS almost 1,400 after that home run. So, again, showing up when it counts, big time series. And you could say this about almost every guy on this friggin' roster, showing up when it counts, making an impact when you need it most. Top 6, Manaea strikes out Bryce Harper, which we talked about. And then we got that awesome double play as Castellanos lined out to Iglesias, who then flips to Lindor for the double at second. And that sweeper, man. I got a stat down here somewhere that I'll look at. But against lefties, that thing is just ruthless. Bottom 6, Aaron Nola, who led the National League with 30 home runs allowed this season, failed to record an out in the 6th as the first 3 batters reached base. We had a really stellar at-bat from Mark Vientos, who singled to left. He walked Brandon Nimmo and then walked Pete Alonso. And then Rob Thompson, Phillies manager, brings in reliever Orion Kirkering, who almost got out of it. Almost. Horseshoes and hand grenades. But with 2 outs, Starling Marte, it's a 2-run single that extended the Mets league. So we almost squandered a bases loaded, no outs rally, which probably wouldn't happen again, right? We wouldn't squander one of those opportunities again, right? In game 4? Yikes. So it's now 4-0 Metros. In the top of the 7th, that sweeper I was talking about from Manaea turns out pretty good against righties as well. 19 inches of sweep to be exact. And he ends up getting Sosa to swing, and it hits Sosa's back foot on the swing and miss. And then he made Hayes. I mean, that was a very weak attempt at a swing from Hayes on the K. So he gets through 7. I think everyone was in agreement. You got to get him out there for the 8th. He has not thrown a ton of pitches. And even in that 8th inning, after there was, the first guy gets on, it wasn't his fault, right? And it wasn't that hard. It was a hard hit ball, but it's a ground ball and it's at Vientos. Vientos probably should make the play. So I probably personally would have tried to keep him in for a little bit longer. But bottom 7, I just love seeing that asshole Alvarado struggle on the struggle bus. I just love seeing it, man. That guy sucks. I hate that guy. In terms of most hated Phillies, he's up there on the list all time. And he's zero control. Couldn't throw strikes. So Iglesias singles to center field, and we scored 2 more. And then, of course, Alonso gets a little greedy. He gets excited. He's like a big dumb dog, folks. He gets excited, wags his tail, Ball gets past Real Muto, and Alonso thinks he can score, and he gets thrown out by a mile at home. But I called him a goofy goober because he is. He's a goofy goober, and we love him for it. And like everyone laughed. Someone tweeted, the vibes are so high at City that Pete Alonso got thrown out at home plate with a sad little stutter step on Jose Iglesias' RBI single, and everyone in the stadium collectively laughed. There were fans chanting Jose, 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 which is what we used to chant for Jose Reyes. And I believe Reyes should be okay with that. So the expectation from a lot of people outside non-Mets fans, baseball fans that aren't rooting for the Mets, are rooting for his demise and think that it's coming to an end. His run is coming to an end. Iglesias hit 440 during the regular season in those 2 outs with runners in scoring position spots. He's hitting 500 in those situations in postseason. So it's not getting better for opponents. It's getting worse. We had 5 2-out RBIs on the night, and that's been kind of our calling card for the postseason and the end of the regular season. Guys, 2 outs, prior seasons, that was like, oh, well, get him next time. This time it's like, no, we're getting runs, and we're getting a lot of runs. Top 8, Bryce Harper singles to right field. Kyle Schwarber goes to third, and Edmundo Sosa scores, so it's 6-1. Manaea will become that run gets charged to Manaea, but he becomes the 9th Met to throw at least 7 scoreless innings in a playoff game. The last was Noah Syndergaard in the 2016 wildcard game we lost. Thank you, Connor Gillespie. And Sean is the first left-handed Mets pitcher to toss at least 7 innings while allowing no more than 1 earned run and 3 hits in a postseason start since Mike Hampton, October 16th, 2000. Some other Mets that have allowed 1 run or fewer and at least 7 innings in a postseason game. DeGrom in Game 1 of the 2015 NLDS versus the Dodgers. Tommy Glavine, Game 1 of the 2006 NLCS versus the Cardinals. And then you have Mike Hampton in Games 1 and 5 versus the Cardinals in the 2000 NLCS. Mike Hampton, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, postseason campaigns for a Mets pitcher ever. Full stop. Most whiffs by a Mets pitcher in a postseason game since 2015. Jacob deGrom with 24. Thor twice. Once in 2015 and then again in the wild card game in 2016 with 21. DeGrom twice more, 19 apiece each. Once in the 2015 postseason and then once against the Pods in the wild card 2 years ago, 2022. And then Sean Manaea, 19. October 8th, the date that Game 3 took place, is the 24th anniversary of Bobby Jones throwing a 1-hit shutout to send the Mets to the NLCS. So it's something about this date that just works for us. Mets playoff pitching performances on October 8th. Of course, you have Manaea. You got DeGrom with the 6 innings, 2 earned, 8 Ks in 2022. Bobby Jones went 9 innings with 5 Ks, no earned runs in 2000. Rick Reed, 2 earned runs in 6 innings pitched in 1999. Ronnie Darling, sweet baby Ron Darling. 6 innings pitched, 2 earned, 5 Ks in 88. And then Dr. Gooden, Dr. K, 1986, 7 innings pitched, 1 earned, 5 K. And then in 73, Jerry Koosman, 9 innings pitched, 2 earned, 9 Ks. So good day to be a Mets pitcher in the postseason if it's October 8th. So after he leaves, Nick Castellanos singles to left. Bryce Harper goes second. Kyle Schwarber scores. It's now 6-2. But we do shut it down after that. No more runs for the Phillies. No more for you. Okay. Bottom 8th, Lindor doubles down the right field line, sending multiple people scattering at the right field umpire, first baseline umpire, the first base. Everyone's just get the hell out of the way. It's a screamer. Tyrone Taylor goes to third. JD Martinez scores. And that's ultimately becomes the final score. 7-2 is Ryan Stanek. Rhino closes the door yet again in the 2024 postseason. Ryan Stanek has thrown 4 1/3 innings pitched and only allowed 1 earned run with 3 Ks, which has many asking, should he be the closer moving forward? I'm open to it. I'm not 100% definitely in on that, but man, it's something to think about. I know that he was warming up when Diaz was in game 4. So it's, it's just lightning in a bottle at this point. You go 162 games of the regular season. You're doing things your way. You found a groove. It works. But then sometimes you just got to toss things around in the postseason. Harold Reynolds was saying on MLB Tonight, why were the Phillies sticking with Kyle Schwarber in the leadoff spot? The guy stunk. Switch it up. And I know it's crazy because you've had so much success with it for such a long period of time, but sometimes it's like sometimes you got to just like, you don't have to stick to your guns. Definition of insanity, my guy. So, and we have to give our credit where credit's due. The apology tour for Mark Vientos continues rolling on. Mark Vientos this postseason 10 for 24 for a 417 average, 440 on-base percentage, 1148 OPS, a double, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, and 5 runs. He joins a short list of Mets with 3 straight multi-hit games in the postseason. Lucas Duda in 2015, Daniel Murphy in 2015, who did it 4 times. Jesus. Curtis Granderson in 2015, Todd Zeile, who did it 4 times in 2000. Old Todd. John Olerud in 99, and Cleon Jones in 1973. Only 2 Mets have recorded 10 hits in their first 6 career postseason games. Vientos and Carlos Delgado. Keep in mind, Delgado was like in his 30s when he did that, when he was with the Metros. Tail end of his career. Vientos is also the 3rd Mets player with at least 7 hits and 2 home runs over a 3-game span in the postseason, joining Kevin McReynolds in 1988 and, Daniel Murphy in 2015. The Mets, after this Game 3 win, improved to 32-19 in home postseason games. So remember that whole talk we had about home field advantage? How it might be a farce and might no longer be true? Not the case when it comes to the Mets and Queens, Flushing your dreams. The .628 winning percentage in home postseason games is the best in Major League Baseball. So, yeah, we fucking love postseason games here in Queens. Mets are now 15-5 in Game 3s of postseason series. So, Game 3s, if you're ever thinking about attending a game, I went to a Game 3. We won. Go to a Game 3. And as much as we love Mark Vientos for his bat, and as much as his glove is improving, my guy is so slow. Holy shit. I tweeted this out. It looks like all of us when we're trying to run away from something or someone in a nightmare. You're trying so hard, but you're just stuck in molasses and everyone's pointing and laughing. Like, no, just me? Okay. So that's Game 3. We're up 2-1. Chance to shut it down, to clinch and move on, advance in Game 4 on our home turf. Again, something we haven't done in 24 years. Been a while. Would be the first time in Citi Field history that we've done it. And more importantly, we get some extra R&R, some rest and relaxation, and we get to prep a little bit more for our opponent. Get to watch more of their games, study up, bone up, if you will, and go in 100% ready to roll like Stu Feiner. So Game 4, Wednesday, October 9th, 2024. It's Ranger Suarez versus Jose Quintana. And boy, oh boy, was the broadcast team jizzing over Ranger Suarez's first half of the season. But they failed to pretty much say the word struggle or anything for the second half of the season. Found that very interesting. It's like lauded him and crowned him for the first half of the season and then failed to mention pretty much anything about his second half. Now, Ranger does have a really great postseason ERA, 1.62 coming into the game, but he needed 30 pitches to record the first 3 outs, which I fucking loved. And then we loaded the bases again in the second inning and failed to score. And his pitch count went up to in the mid high 50s, but no runs. First two Mets reached base. So third and fourth, Rangers kind of cruising, and people are starting to get uneasy, myself included, because it's like so many goddamn opportunities, and they're all wasted. And now it looks like, oh, here we go. He's settling in. The first two Mets reached the base in the fifth before Brandon Nimmo strikeout. My buddy tweeted at me and said that we should have had Nimmo bunt there. I don't hate the idea, but Nimmo has been so clutch and so good of late that I'm fine with the green light. That being said, lefty on lefty, yeah, maybe the bunt is the way to go. I don't know his career numbers against Ranger Suarez. My guess is not great. But yeah, I think a bunt might have been nice there. But I don't think the next guy would have failed anyway. It's just we just could not push that run across from third or second. And they mentioned this on the broadcast, his stuff wasn't great to start off the game. And they said that that's the case with most sinker pitchers. Most sinker pitchers need some time to warm up and get loose, and the movement increases as the game goes on. And I think that happened here. He threw the best curveball he's ever thrown. He threw 30 curves, registered 6 strikeouts with that pitch. Those 30 curveballs were tied for the most he's ever thrown in a start. And that was something that we could not lay off of. He only goes 4 1/3, but I tweeted this out. I said, we're allowing the Phillies to win this game. We had them on the ropes, but we're chasing pitches and not working the count. Rangers settling in, and that's unsettling. We've had consistently quality at-bats for most of this series and last, but it's trending in the wrong way, and we need to reset. So, and I think, luckily, we did figure it out in the 6th. But coming into the game, Jose Quintana, over his last 7 starts, including the postseason, 42 1/3 innings pitched, 4-1 in 7 starts, 0.64 ERA, 0.97 WHIP, 34 Ks. That's good enough for 7.2 Ks per 9. He ends up going, I think he went 6 innings here, maybe. 6 Ks, 2 walks, no earned runs. He had 4 strikeouts through 3 no-hit innings, and he had 2 Ks in the 5th. After that performance, he lowered his ERA to 0.57 over his last 8 starts. So, I think going into this postseason, that was kind of like we kind of forgot about how good he is in the postseason and how good he's been, down the stretch. So, whereas Manaea has been a workhorse and has been considered the ace, and Severino can look really strong a lot of the time, Quintana can kind of be like the silent killer. He's just like, he's out there and it's not overly flashy, but it's just good work. I called it quintessential Quintana. Very Johan Santana-esque with the way he throws the ball and his changeup and his delivery. So, man, kudos to Jeremy Hefner, pitching coach who survived a bunch of different changes, staff and personnel changes, coaching changes over the years, and for good reason. I mean, the guy has worked with some pitchers that others have discarded and have left by the wayside in Manaea and Severino and maybe even Quintana. And he's given them a second wind, a career renaissance. So Castellanos did go 2 for 4. He was the top hitter for the Phillies. And then our guy Lindor was our top performer. I think everyone can agree with that, right? 2 for 5 with 1 grand salami. But yet again, it's Vientos that continues to make history. Hitters that are 24 or younger with 2 or more doubles and 2 or more home runs in a division series. You got Vientos, Wander Franco in 2021, Manny Ramirez in 96, and Chipper Jones in 95. I mean, these are some crazy elite Hall of Fame names. And this guy, and we have him. And it didn't cost us, an arm and a leg and 5 pitchers and 2 prospects and a fucking partridge in a pear tree, dude. His stat line in the NLDS is insane. 9 for 16. As I mentioned, 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 2 walks. His 9 hits are a Mets record for a division series. 563 average, 1674 OPS. Holy shnikes. Pete Alonso has also reached base safely in 8 of his 9 career playoff games. So for everyone waiting for him to break out of his slump and thinking he's washed and we need to move on, he's a cornerstone of this franchise. Some would say the face of this franchise, maybe behind Lindor. I don't want to lose him. And maybe this postseason run does jack up his price. Just pay it. It's worth it. It's worth it to have him on the team, in the clubhouse. He loves this team. He loves the city. He loves the fan base. And I think he wants to go down. It's a legacy thing with him. I really do think it is. I really do think that he wants to be remembered for the rest of his life. As Lindor said in the post-game conference, I want to win it all. I want everyone on this team to get like free food wherever they go for the next 10 years. Like wherever they go, they just get free shit for the next 10 years. Like, I want that to happen for them. So I think, he's got to come back, and you're a fool if you don't want him back. Top 4, Alec Bohm hits a force out to the shallow infield. Nick Castellanos goes to third. Bryce Harper scores. It's a fielding error by Mark Vientos. This is pretty much deja vu, right? We had the same thing happen in Game 3, where it's just he's rushing. It's that you can see it in the replay in slow motion. Like he's not looking into the glove. He's picking his head up because he knows he's got to be quick. And if there's one thing that Mark Vientos is not, maybe his bat is quick, but everything else is a bit on the slower side. So got to work on that. Maybe they'll work on that with the downtime that they have. It's like a force out of home or like a play at home, catch and throw, look it in, throw, look it in, throw. So Philly takes the 1-0 lead at the top of the 4th. And it was just like, can't be the way that we lose. Just like constantly juicing the bases loaded on our side when we're up at bat. And then we look like the Phillies are lost. And then all of a sudden we make one mistake and now they're winning, and oof. And I believe that he would have got Harper at the plate with a good throw. So, but yeah, we had 2 straight innings with the bases loaded, stranded. That was tough. He had some really bad at bats from the Franciscos, Alvarez and Lindor. Getting way too aggressive at the plate. Just absolutely brutal. Just tense. Too tense. I think, they feel it as much as they're professionals and professional athletes, and they know they know what's at stake, and they know the crowd is anxious. This is a big opportunity. You need to come through in the clutch. You start to just get in your head about like, oh, we're 1 win away and we're 1 run away. We're 2 runs away. I think they too aggressive. Make them work. It's weird. You had guys to start the innings make Ranger Suarez work. We're not going to cave in. We're not going to chase. We're going to make you throw strikes. We're going to make you put it in the zone, and we're going to foul it off. It's there. Look for our pitch. We did that to get guys on base, but then we get the guys on base, and it's like we lose that approach. So, 9 base runners through the first 5 innings, no runs. 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position, and both were infield singles. Phillies just had 1 hit. Boy, oh boy. So to go down losing that way, and then they had to go back to Philly, that would have been, woo. Yeah, that would have aged you. Reed Garrett, first Mets reliever to appear in the game and record the first 2 outs in the 6th. But then Mendoza goes to Peterson, who entered with 2 outs, 2 on, against the lefty Bryson Stott. Peterson retired Stott on just 3 pitches to end a threat, and then he pitched 2 more scoreless innings, limiting the Phillies' top 5 batters to just a single. He has been money in the postseason. Closed out the wild card round through 3 scoreless. After Senga in Game 1 inherits runner, gets the hold here in Game 4. This postseason, 6 1/3 innings pitched, 1-0 in 3 games, 0 ERA. 1.11 whip, 3 Ks, 190 opponent's batting average, 1 save. I said he was eating Phillies' souls. What a renaissance for 23. One of the best pitching runs I've ever seen from a reliever who's not even a reliever. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this that I can remember, where it's like you've been a starter your whole career. You've been a starter for all of this season. And now you are like pretty much our top long relief guy. Wow. Meanwhile, Jeff Hoffman, who an all-star, had pitched multiple innings in a game only 4 times during this season. He had never warmed up 3 times before this game. So a lot of people criticizing Rob Thompson's handling and management of Jeff Hoffman, and for good reason. I saw this graphic pop up, and I was like, holy shit. Jeff Hoffman has an 81 ERA in this series. I was a really shitty pitcher. I don't think I ever had an 81. I had a 27 ERA, I think, at one point, but 81, yikes. Bases loaded, 1 out, and Rob Thompson goes to closer Carlos Estevez. We get a leadoff single from JD Martinez, a wild pitch that moves JD over to second base. Starling Marte gets hit yet again with a 2-2 slider. We walk Tyrone Taylor. Great at bat from Tyrone Taylor. A guy who defensively has really been awesome. Offensively, a bit spotty. And then a ground out from Francisco Alvarez. And then we get Alvarez versus Estevez. Marte on third. Tyrone Taylor in second. Francisco Alvarez. Did he ground out? Oh, no, he had an infield single. You want to talk about what this postseason has been. It's been a series of huge clutch moments for this team. And this was, people are saying it was the biggest home run in Citi Field history. Francisco Lindor grand slam. Slam Cisco, our captain. Doesn't have the C on his chest, but should. So goddamn clutch. I said to give him all the money, all the awards, all the love. He's the best shortstop in baseball. He's the best player in Mets history. He's going to be the best player in Mets history, I think. And he's the MVP. And he's given us so many memorable moments. And he hits this ball, and he no-sells it. And there's like little to no reaction as he's rounding the bases. He didn't pull a Winker. He didn't pull an Alonso. He's not doing a bat flip. He's not standing there. He's not showing anyone up. He just calmly trots around the bases. Unbelievable, dude. Stone cold killer. He joins Edgardo Alfonso as the only other Met to hit a postseason grand slam all time in Mets history. Of course, Alfonso hit his on October 15th, 1999 in Game 1 of the NLDS against the Diamondbacks. I want to say it was in Arizona, but maybe not. And then, of course, there's Robin Ventura, but it officially, technically, was a single. Thank you, Todd Pratt. But yeah, I would put Robin Ventura on that list because it was a grand slam. Most grand slams in postseason history, there's only 3 tied for first place. Jim Thome, Shane Victorino, Francisco Lindor all have 2. Wild that Shane Victorino has 2. I never really pegged the Flying Hawaiian as a home run hitter. Francisco Lindor is the first shortstop to hit a go-ahead grand slam in the postseason. Jeter, where you at? A-Rod, where you at? Cal Ripken, where you at? Francisco Lindor is the first player in Major League Baseball postseason history to hit a grand slam to account for all of his team's runs in a series-clinching win. There were chants of MVP. Everyone's singing along to his walk-up song, My Girl. There were some people saying we were waiting for his Mets postseason moment, as if to say he was like invisible for the entire wild card and divisional series up to that point, which he was not, making big plays here and there, left and right, scoring runs, getting on base, making good, amazing plays in the field. I mean, he Harper had a bullet that he picked up off one hop, and he had the double play. I mean, it's so many great defensive plays from Lindor. I don't think he only had one botched play. So yeah, I mean, his Mets postseason moment, it doesn't get any bigger than this. And what's crazy is this team is not done. We still have the NLCS, and I mean, I don't want to jinx anything, so I won't say anything about the Earled Way Eries say, okay? But there's plenty of postseason left to have another one, as if he's not giving us enough. We're asking for more. My God. Steve Cohen said on Francisco Lindor that $341 million is looking pretty freaking good right now. And I mean, I said this after I think we clinched the playoff berth going into the wild card. You looked at, like, if you do an evaluation of his contributions, his WAR, and you assign dollar amounts to the WAR, he's given us far and beyond what the contract is. So, I mean, I wouldn't surprise if Cohen comes back to him and says, "You want more? We'll give you more." I obviously had the broadcast on mute. I tried to get Howie Rose on 880 Odyssey, and because I live in an area that, I don't want to say it's no man's land, but it's like equidistant between Philly and New York, I was not allowed to listen to it, which is weird because I can go out to my car and turn on 880 AM and get the game. But yet online through Odyssey.com, they had the whole pregame, and then right before first pitch, they go, Major League Baseball rules dictate, but blah, 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 you're not in a territory. It's just like, oh, fucking A, bro. So was not able to listen to Howie Rose live, but we got the clips after, and damn, they did not disappoint. The Mets were famished for a big hit, and Francisco Lindor provided a feast. This friggin' guy. Oh, so amazing. Love it. Depending on who you ask, the Mets have scored either 16 or 17 runs against the Phillies bullpen in the series. So the Phillies at one point, maybe even towards, they were like the number one bullpen for a very long time, and we scored 16 or 17 runs against them. I will say I do think we got away with one with Alec Baum's shot down the first baseline. I mean, that, it was a clear as day. The ball went over the bag, and then landed in foul territory on the other side of the bag. To me, that's a fair ball, but the umpire calls it foul. Baum complains, and rightfully so, and almost gets tossed. And then we have Edwin Diaz come in. And Diaz, it's always an adventure with this dude. Always an adventure. I mentioned it the last time he came in, that he was wild and all over the place. He was wild and all over the place again here. He walks the first two batters, like not even close to the plate. I think the Phillies batters stepped into the box knowing, okay, we don't have to swing against this guy. He's going to do himself in. It's the bottom of the order. It's 6, 7, 8 hitters, and he's not attacking. Just pump gas right down the middle. They're not going to catch up with it. And I tweeted, he doesn't have it. We should put in Ryan Stanek, because at least Ryan Stanek is going to throw strikes, get people to swing, get people to put the ball in play. So very frustrated with Edwin Diaz, but luckily for him, Kyle Schwarber was next up, leading off. And he strikes out Schwarber on a 101 mile per hour fastball, the fastest pitch he's thrown since 2022 to end it. So, he gets the strikeout on the 8 hitter. He gets a pop out on the 9th hitter. I think it was Marsh, and then strikes out Schwarber to end it. Oh baby, how fitting to strike out Schwarber to end it all. That motherfucker. I know I think I've heard interviews with him on Part of My Take, and he sounds like a chill dude. He sounds like a cool guy, but eat shit, Schwarber. Like, eat shit. Man, does he suck against Edwin Diaz. Like, you couldn't have asked for a better player to be up at that point to end the game than Kyle Schwarber. The guy just cannot figure out Edwin Diaz. And, Edwin did, there were some pitches where he was way off. There were some pitches that were pretty close to the zone, to the strike zone. Some would say the umpire was squeezing him a little bit, but he just made a slight adjustment and was able to get those pitches a little bit further in and was able to end it. But holy crap, 4-1 ball game, 2 guys on, tying right at the plate. So that'll be interesting to see how that develops as we go into the NLCS. But I think it's so funny that there was a celebration and Edwin Diaz, like, after he does his, like, flex where he's shaking out of his cleats, completely fired up. He immediately does like like a quarterback in a noisy stadium, like on the road or at home, like trying to quiet down the crowd. He does that to like the guys rushing him because they want to like jump and celebrate. And he's like, no, we're just going to do like no jumping. So they had the group kind of do a nice little group hug, no jumping with Diaz. And then they all ran to Francisco Lindor where they all jumped around, jump up and get down. Jump. So, and then everyone was reposting that fucking video of, I guess it was Bryson Stott popping champagne with the quote, "Fuck the Bravos and whoever the fuck we play next, and always the Mets." How's that working out for you? So funny. That was like last year, and then they lost to the Diamondbacks. So maybe you should, yeah. So how far have we come? On May 31st, the Mets had their 3rd worst record in the National League and the 6th worst record in Major League Baseball. And now they are the first team to advance to the championship series. The Mets once trailed the Phillies by 17 and a half games in the standings this season. And since June 8th, that London game where Bryce Harper did that stupid soccer sliding on his knees celebration in front of his dugout, like he won the goddamn World Series, the Mets went 62-37 and are in the National League Championship Series. The Phillies went 50-48 and were donezo after the NLDS. So have fun dancing on your own, Philadelphia, at home. First time going to the NLCS since 2015. The 9th time in franchise history. We're going to be playing either the Padres or the Dodgers. And while it would be nice to beat the Dodgers, the number 1 seed, I kind of want to face the Padres and get some redemption there. Padres did some kind of scumbag shit in that wild card series. They were trash talking, they were hot dogging, showboating, and they were really rubbing it in our face. And we just took it. So it would be nice to get a little revenge on the Pods. I would like that. And I think the Padres pull it out. The series is tied 2-2. I know they got blown out last night, but I think the pitching for the Dodgers is in disarray. I think the Padres come back out and end it. And the Padres are, Musgrove, I think, is out. Ceased. I don't know if he looked that good. So, I personally would love to face the Padres. And I think that's going to be one hell of an NLCS. Mets Dodgers would be great too, because we've often said, when Steve Cohen bought the team that he wanted to be the Dodgers of the NL East. So if we can go on a run like the Dodgers have, the Dodgers have been in the postseason every year since 2013. I'll take that in a heartbeat. As much as they catch shit for not winning at all. I mean, the 2020 title, is recognized, but it's got a little asterisk next to it. So, I prefer Mets Padres. I'll take Mets Dodgers either way. Let's go Mets. I could not stop watching Francisco Lindor's Grand Slam. Could not stop watching it. Just as I could not stop watching Pete's game-winning home run against the Brewers. Everything was just likes, hearts everywhere. it was. I feel the Mets are like the one good thing in my life right now. I love my daughter, but the Mets have been giving me a lot to live for. As sad as that sounds, very happy for the team and its fan base, and it just feels something brewing, something miraculous, something amazing, something magical. The humor, whimsy, joy is at all-time levels. We're addicted to the playoffs. We were famished, now we're feasting. From 0-5 to OMG. We got a rally pumpkin, playoff pumpkin. We have a friggin' big purple thing that's supposed to be a milkshake, I guess. We have a dog that eats hot dogs. We have a pimp. We have a veteran with a freaking weird, funny name. We have got it all. Just keep it going. Quality at bats, manufacture runs, big time plays, big time moments. And you got to believe. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. NLCS Mets in 4. Adios, muchachos.